Hello everyone. I'm not a YouTuber, but I am going to try record a video. It's strange because I used to be more comfortable talking, but over the last few years I've become more comfortable writing. So I'm like, maybe I should just make a blog post, but then again, I think people do like to watch videos. So I'm going to do my best to enunciate my words instead of mumbling all the time, which I often do. Anyway, I thought I should make a video doing a spoiler-free exploration on the main themes in The Great Justice, which is the book I wrote, in case it's not obvious. Mainly for the people who might be on the fence about giving it a read. So let's just start by considering the two main genres in the story, which are science fiction and fantasy. So they interact in an interesting way. At the most basic level, I would say science fiction is about exploring what's possible, but maybe not right now, but like theoretically possible. And fantasy is about what is completely impossible, so it's like wish fulfillment. And by blending the two, the line becomes a little unclear, and it leads to the sense that anything that happens in the story could be possible, even if it's impossible. Or in other words, just anything's possible, and you kind of just encourage the reader to really take everything quite seriously, in the sense that, if you read a fantasy story, or you watch a fantasy movie and there's like magic and stuff, you're like, that doesn't really make much sense. Like I wouldn't believe it happening in real life. Whereas with science fiction fantasy, it's kind of like it's asking you to try and believe, like in the really far future, maybe this could all happen. At least that's what I like about it. But beyond that, more surface level interaction between the two genres, there's a bit more. So science fiction usually explores the theme of like what it means to be a human. So there's often things like, if you look at cyberpunk, for example, people like replacing their body parts, or like AI that are like very human-like, but like, are they human enough? Should they be treated like humans? Like that kind of exploration of humanity itself. And also, I guess cyberpunk just does a great job. As a genre, it's usually about mega corporations, like late-stage capitalism, kind of just speaking about human nature. It's like very exploitative, very greedy. So it explores like what it means to be human in all of its good and bad ways. And fantasy is, I think just like before, it's just about wish fulfillment. So if you look at popular media recently, there's, or in Japan at least, I don't know, in anime, there's the isekai genre, and I think there's a lot more of that in novels too. It's like Alice in Wonderland is an isekai. So to explain what isekai is, in case you don't know, it's when the main character travels through like a portal or something, or they die, and they enter another world where the rules are different, and then the character gets to reinvent themselves in some way, and then usually it's a character exploration of like, what makes them useful in this world where maybe they weren't as useful in their previous world, or as valued. Another example could be like Chronicles of Narnia. I would say that's an isekai story. The magic wardrobe. But yeah, so I've aimed to combine the two, science fiction fantasy in this respect, where if fantasy is about wish fulfillment and science fiction is an exploration of humanity, I've basically gone in trying to answer the question, what happens if you grant humanity everything it desires? Which is a big question. But yeah, so and if you how does that reflect on what it means to be human? How does that reflect on our collective future? So so first off, I have to, within the story, establish what does humanity desire, I think it's quite obvious from my title what the main thing I focused on is, which is justice. So I think humanity as a whole desires it, or on a societal level. Or maybe it could be a modern trend as well, perhaps, because I'm a bit of a young soul. No, anyway. Because, yeah, I think most, headlines that stick out, or most stories that stick out, are things about injustice in some capacity. I don't know, you'd come up with, a million examples, like the war in Ukraine, George Floyd, any headline in your local city, town is probably about someone being wronged. There's the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. That's very justice focused thing. Again, maybe I'm just biased, but I do think most people, especially my age, do tend to complain about the unfairness of the world and of life. I don't have enough money to get a house, cost of living. I don't know. You go on and on, but you get the idea. So, I do explore the idea, so I'm trying not to spoil things. I'm thinking of phrasing. It might be a strange question, but I do explore the idea. Is fairness something really to be desired? Or not? Is fairness good or evil? Which, again, sounds really weird, because I think the answer is obvious to most people. But then I ask the question, what does a fair world really look like? Because presumably fairness is good, right? But then you really have to get into what is good then. Because if a fair world is going to be better than an unfair world, then, what is better if not moving the needle of, let's say reality towards good instead of bad? So I kind of have to get into what is good and what is evil. And of course, in the context of the story, that will depend on who you ask, because each of the characters have their own goals and they've had their own experiences. So they're going to desire different things, and they're going to think that they're doing the right thing, which I think is a reflection on real life and people getting really confused about what they should be doing. I guess it's a really simple way of putting it. But yeah, sorry, I've talked about fairness a lot, and it's very central to what happens to the world and how that affects the future. So I've been writing the sequel, so it's been on my mind. But you'll see what happens, of course, in the story. But yeah, that'll get fleshed out later. I think there'll be enough of it that you should be satisfied and be leave your mind racing in a good way. Of course, I've sort of gone really. It sounds like I've written a dissertation on moral philosophy. Rest assured, that's not really what I've done. It's a story. It's a fictional. It's a thing with magic and science and people. I don't know, drama, characters trying to become better people. So yeah, it's a story first and foremost. It's just got a lot of those moral themes, and it does come to fundamentally it is about the characters on their journey, and their journey is driven by their moral compass. So, or perhaps not, but you get the idea. It's central to the story, hence this video. What was my conclusion? Oh, right, sorry. Yeah, I was saying, even if, obviously, this philosophy stuff is baked into the story, don't be scared of oh no, it's gonna be too oh, I don't know who Aristotle is. Also, don't worry, don't name drop Aristotle, I don't think, but it's not. It's written in a way, I think. Pretty sure it is. I need someone to read it though. That is the conclusion that is reached is quite simple, in a way, I think most people have already reached that conclusion, whether they realize it or not. It's sort of my job, or the way I went about it was kind of like, make things very confusing, present lots of different options, because humans are terrible at making decisions, I've decided. And then really just simplify it down just by kind of naturally showing when each character reaches the end of the journey, it becomes obvious, I think, what should be done by everyone. And that's like the moral of the story. But yeah, not going to spoil anything. I hope I haven't spoiled anything. I'm pretty sure I haven't. I'm trying to be very vague. Just speaking it from the sense of like a director. But yeah, so yeah, that's my intention behind the book and the themes. It's really to leave the reader with some ideas of what is right and what is wrong, and maybe to change some ideas that you might have. I mean, it's not really setting out to like change people's minds. Again, I think the conclusion that is reached is something that people already agree with. So I don't think it's really about that, but I do think it's something that it will be pleasant to read, in a sense, like, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Things are a lot clearer now. Hypothetically, if someone asked me to make an impossible choice, I would know what to do, kind of thing. Yeah. Cool. So I think that's about it for this video, but I will try to come up with more. And sorry if there's any background noise. I'm not a professional, just recording this in my bedroom. So anyway, have a good one. Please read the book. Links are all in the description. I'll see you next time. Oh, and hit like. Please. Bye.